Hello, friends. Today we gather in remembrance of Nissan, an iconic automaker that shaped the roads we traveled upon and the memories that we created behind the wheel. From its humble beginnings in Japan to becoming a global leader in automotive innovation, Nissan carried with it a legacy of craftsmanship, efficiency, and innovation. Its groundbreaking vehicles like the Z Series and the revolutionary Leaf stood as testaments to a company that dared to push the boundaries of design and sustainability. Beyond the cars, Nissan symbolized a journey, one of resilience, adaptation, and forward thinking. Though its engines may no longer hum and its production lines may fall silent, Nissan's contributions will live on in the hearts of drivers and enthusiasts worldwide. So again, friends, today, we honor its legacy and the countless miles we traveled with it by our side. May you rest in peace, Nissan. You will be missed, but never forgotten.
The podcast. Hey, 2025. Keith, what's up, brother?
Hey, that was like in tune and everything. Nice job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I feel like I'm in the studio.
What's going on, everybody?
We're in Studio Plan B.
Everybody? Studio Plan B?
Yeah,
I like
Studio
that.
Plan B. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, good stuff. So it's been a long time since we've actually gotten together and podcasted. We've been getting together on the back end of this thing, trying to get things ironed out and ready for the next year. And here we are, 2025, and it's already February.
I've been waiting to say this for a while.
What?
We're back, bitches.
Fun stuff, man. Yeah. Exciting to be back. Keith and I both have been extremely busy. Personal stuff, work stuff, you name it, just trying to play catch up and then working this back into our lives. And we've missed it, so we're glad to be back. And there's a lot to talk about. So
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books. And my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Actually, it smells of rich spray paint right now.
Yeah.
For some of the props that we have here on set, Keith decided he wanted to paint one of the pieces. So,
earlier today.
Yeah, earlier today. It's still with us though. I think I might be a little
contact
flushed from it or something. I don't know. Could be that. Could be the beer. So, for those of you who are not familiar with who we are the PartsCounter Gurus, or as we like to call ourselves, PCG. We get into anything automotive, anything with wheels on it, anything related to anything with wheels on it, anything related to the technology of those things that have wheels on them. We talk about it, including movies, a little pop culture. We'll throw that in there for you guys, just to we'll talk some Bandit for you. We'll talk Eastbound and Down. We love that. Anything like that, we like to get into it. We couldn't do it without your support. So remember one thing, folks. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. That helps us out. It doesn't cost you a dime, but you have no idea how much that really helps us out. Yeah, it definitely does. So, and surprisingly, Keith, the fact that we haven't really released anything new per se over the last couple of months, man, we've still been doing quite well. So thank you to everybody out there who has continued to watch our channel and listen to our podcast over again. We're going to bring you some more fun things this year. There's a lot to talk about. We got a new administration who has made some immediate changes to the automotive industry. And we will get into a lot of that actually on this particular episode. And I'm sure that next week will bring us more things that have changed within our industry. So, got anything you want to add to that, my friend?
No.
Okay, good.
That's
That means I've done
that's
my
good
homework.
podcast.
That's,
no,
not at all.
given the interview.
So my understanding
yes.
this is hold on a second. Let's talk about this. Everybody, you guys know Side Shot. Side Shot's our young and up and coming podcaster guru himself. Might be licensed to drive.
What you talking about, Willie?
So he turned 15. Well, as we're recording this yesterday, and he's been driving in the neighborhood, practicing.
Yeah. Taking out any mailboxes?
No, that's his mom.
Not following in his mom's footsteps?
Yeah, but I let him drive the FJ for the first time yesterday, put it in 4-wheel drive, and had him turn the wheel just to, so he could feel that. He of course, he thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going to take the learner permit test. I don't know, soon, a couple weeks, I think he's on the books. Good. It's good and it's bad for those of you that have older kids. You know what I'm talking about, and for those of you that have younger kids, there's that growing up part.
Well, you know what's interesting to me is that he's probably his generation maybe bringing us back into this. Like when we were kids growing up, man. When you turned 15 years old, man, you were actually sleeping outside the night before.
Yeah,
to get in and get your driver's test done so you get your license. And, like I told you, my 2 kids, they could care less about driving at 15. It wasn't the same thing for them. I don't know why that is such a generational thing, but
several of the previous generations, like they just, and you got public transportation and a lot more urban living and all those things. I don't know if it's Side Shot or his generation. I know, he likes to drive, right?
Yeah,
and we did the indoor go-kart tracks yesterday. They're all electric. Tons of fun.
Yeah. Well,
and I mean, he's doing everything that, he's learned, he's practiced. Like I caught him, his mom snapped some pictures and, he was looking through the turns. Like I was looking at the pictures and he's looking through the turn before he turns. He likes to go fast. He likes to drive. He likes to race. Right. But that might just be him.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, I still so he walked away a little upset because he'd done this before and it was his idea. He was like, Dad, we should go do this. Cause he'd gone with a friend or like last year, I think 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And so I went, sure, and so they have this, like, the better that you get, the better your laptop, because you're really just racing against yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put you in a group, and there's 4 different speed unlocks that the car will do,
right,
based on how good you get, based on your lap time. So the very first time that I did this, I had no history, and my car literally started like in the slowest speed they would allow you to go.
Yeah.
And then we did another session and it automatically unlocks based on your lap times, right? So I had all this extra like kick that was like I was up in everybody, I was getting good lap times. So my best time beat his best time by about a half second, maybe a little less than a half second.
Wow.
And he didn't like that. He was not happy about it.
He's competitive.
And I just feel like, the old man still got it. You gotta make sure he still knows who's in charge.
You do. You have to do that. That's the parental right.
Yeah. He is at that age where everyone that isn't he's smarter than everyone that isn't him.
Right.
How it's that teenager thing, right?
I got you. Yeah, I get it.
Tons of enthusiasm, tons of that go get them, but zero experience.
So everybody, and that's great, by the way. I'm glad you guys were able to spend that time together on that's a big year, 15, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of things change from here on out. Welcome to the real world. So you guys who have been longtime listeners and watchers of the podcast, again, thank you for that. You might notice one thing. Keith and I are actually in the same room. And that's something that we have been able to start because I am in close proximity of Keith these days. So, yeah. So we're taking advantage of that opportunity. We're going to be spending a lot more time together doing these things and doing some, bringing you guys some videos. And we're going to try to travel this year. We're going to try to get out on the road and maybe take a couple of weeks and get out there and do a traveling podcast show, if you will. We'll see how that goes. We haven't quite narrowed down where we'll be going. I'm sure that the Pacific Northwest is probably going to be high on that list of places that we will want to go. Go see our good bud Rothmeyer, who you guys are aware of, has been on our podcast several times. He is the camping guru, if you will. So we always appreciate his input on how to get out there as far as you can and shut everything else down and just go have a good time with nature, which is a beautiful thing, guys. If you've never been able to do that, when you're out so far and you're digging your own latrines, man, that's a good time. I don't care what you say. That's a good time. Put the phones away because they don't work. There's no signals. There's nothing. The entertainment you have are the stars, the fish, the bears, the wolves, and the crickets. Yes, we're prepared. We're prepared. Oh, anyway, we've got so much to talk about.
I mean,
Keith.
People won't stop doing dumb things, so here we are.
No, here we are. Wow, what a bang year so far in the automotive industry just because of an administration change, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe not just because, but yeah, there are definitely things happening that are a result of that. And
we'll get into
the thing we'll get. Yeah. So the Nissan thing, I think, has been going on for years, but that's.
Yeah. And we'll get into that.
It's accelerated.
It has accelerated.
See what I did there?
I do see that, man. Very good. Nice. Yeah, there's just some interesting things going on. Guys, the bottom line, the automotive industry is really, really changing. And we're talking and we're going to get into some of these things today. We're talking about repairing, the ability to repair, your ability to move freely throughout your daily lives without being monitored in some way, shape, or form with with AI and software that are integrated within some of these vehicles these days, most of them. We're going to get into how the cost of repairing is going to probably go through the roof. Components, electronics, how the cost of those are probably going to go up too, just based on some changes that have been made. So we will, this just shut down right here.
Oh, Jay lost his camera.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it plugged in? Did we forget to plug it in?
No, it's plugged in. It was overheating.
Oh, okay. So we might have to. Well, the good news is we have 2 backup cameras, but I think I have to take it out of 4K.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it. Yeah. So here's the real question. I can go do it.
Yes.
But you have to talk.
Okay.
The whole time.
Okay.
Because nobody will be able to hear me.
Okay.
So you want me to do it that way, or do you want to? Let's get into the next story, and then you just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Or you can, play the banjo or.
Dude, I'm totally down with it, and let's talk about, you can take care of the.
Not okay.
Take care
now.
Of it. You don't have to now, but let's get into it. Let's see.
Okay.
So
just tell me when.
GM guys, as we all know, have been committed to the future, which is what they say the future is electric vehicles, but we all know that is a question still up in the air as to whether it really actually is.
I'm going now.
The future. Okay, thank you so much, camera guy. But this is not about what they are doing. what as far as electric vehicles go, where they're going with that, it's more or less about the invasion of your privacy, guys. GM was just caught secretly selling car owners driving data, and they were slapped with a hefty ban by Lena Khan, yeah, at the FTC, which is crazy. Now, you guys might be familiar with this from insurance. Auto insurance companies will specifically ask you if you would like to join their, say, safe drivers club or program, where they give you a dongle that you plug into your vehicle. I'm assuming, Keith, it's the OBD is where that would go.
Yeah, I mean, they're all
right. So
yeah. I mean, now the newer stuff, it's built in without a dongle.
Right.
Right.
So insurance companies, just to name one, State Farm, for example, they offer that, and you can gain a safe driver's discount by them monitoring basically the way you drive, your driving habits, how you accelerate, how you brake, how fast you drive, all that, plays a big part on your insurance premium every month and annually if you pay annually. But what GM was doing is they were extracting this data from your vehicle, in some cases by explicit consent, but people just really didn't know what they were getting into.
Well, they got caught by the feds,
Correct.
by the Federal Trade Commission.
That is correct.
Right? And this is not so this is not a whoops, my bad, we forgot to turn off the setting on the, car software before we sold it.
Right.
They were not just logging all of that information, they were then selling it
right
to an interested third parties for money.
Right.
So there's no oops, I slipped. Right. Like
they literally got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, so to speak.
Right.
And so they're getting slapped with a ban. So the ban that they've been slapped with will last for, I think, 5 years, if I understood that correctly.
But then there's a 20-year number in there.
And then there is a 20-year number in there. It was a 5 years, even in cases of explicit consent. So GM pledged to obtain affirmative consent by its owners to collect, use, or disclose certain types of connected vehicle data for the next 2 decades. Over the first 5 years, the car maker was slapped with a total ban. Even if God came down personally to give explicit consent, GM would not be allowed to pass on the almighty data to a consumer reporting agency. That's pretty serious, man. So basically here's what they were caught with. They were harvesting driver data for sale. In some cases, every 3 seconds is what they said. It would vary between 3 seconds and 5 seconds and 10 seconds, from what I understood. And GM built it as a smart driver feature to promote safer driving. And the technology was used, however, to sell, like I said, to third parties, and data related to consumer precise geolocation, their driving behavior without explicit consent, and sometimes as often as every 3 seconds. And man, that's pretty. Man, that's like standing in the shower while you're showering. I mean, that's how darn
what?
Yeah,
standing
in
what?
Yeah. That's like standing in the shower with you, man. It's that personal.
Okay.
Every 3 seconds,
Oh, I got it. It's like somebody from GM is in the shower with me.
Mm-hmm.
I got it now. I got it. Okay. Yeah.
This is true.
Okay.
This is very true. Oh, thanks. By the way, I'm back up and running on my angle right here. Here I am. So, I noticed at one point when the camera, it dimmed down a little bit in the screen, and then I was checking, it was still recording. But so there you go, guys. This is live stuff that we're doing, and we captured it on film. But
we're using actual content creator cameras as opposed to webcams, and
Yeah.
there's a setting in there that when you're recording at 4K, it just got too hot, so I had to fix that.
Yeah, and I don't understand why that happens sometimes, but it does. Guys,
Jay's doing the equivalent of tapping, moving the mic around. He's like adjusting. It's all right. I could cut away from it in post while you move it. Go ahead, move it.
well, it's
Put it-
fine.
put
It's
it where
fine.
you want it.
It's good. It's good. It had just a slight lean. You don't want to be crooked on camera.
So I will say this, that
There you go.
like GM, you mean?
yeah, crooked on camera there. Oof.
Yeah, man. Like you guys and we've talked about brand loyalty many times in the past. Just stop doing that. Like, be as agnostic as you can on your cars and buy the ones that meet your needs. And we're
Yeah.
going to get into something here in a little bit about kind of who makes the best product and consumer satisfaction and all that. And it changes sometimes, not for 4 or 5 years, but it does eventually change.
It does. It does. You have, sometimes you have leaders. Sometimes those leaders become followers. That's how it is. I mean, fine example is Apple used to be the innovative leader in smart devices, smartphones and tablets and those sorts of things. And they're just not that anymore. They're
Sometimes your leader gets caught in a cello case. Anyway,
crazy.
So yeah, so if I were a GM loyalist, I would be so mad right now.
Oh, I would be just off my, and I am not a GM loyalist.
Like,
by the way, so I'm a Ford guy.
A lot of people dumping their Teslas. Or I saw a bumper sticker the other day on like a Model 3. It said, "I bought this before Elon went crazy."
Well, wait a minute. Before he went crazy, what are you talking about? He's been crazy.
I would
right?
argue
I would argue
like,
that. I mean,
we figured it out.
all
but
we're doing is
yeah.
normalizing his activity.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. And granted, I mean, he has a lot to offer, society.
I think he's
but
a little bit of a con man salesman, but that's just my own personal. I'll fix it. That's all. I'm just gonna run around and fix stuff. There you go.
oh,
It's fixed.
yeah,
See?
there you go. What is it? What is it saying, man?
It's got a little microphone. There it is. It's a little.
Oh, nice.
Just a little on the air. I don't know.
If you guys look, man, welcome to my world. If there's one gadget to be tried during a podcast, Keith will find it, and
You just push all the buttons.
just push all the buttons, just play with it, just for the hell of it.
Yep.
Not because the podcast wasn't perfect before. It's
but you
apparently
gotta,
it has
Well, I want the espresso maker in the door of the refrigerator. I want the background music and the, I want multiple sound effects at the same time.
I love it.
Anyway.
man. Well, we're slowly but surely refining the whole process, and we're gonna all our goal is to make it more entertaining for you. Instead of just listening to us talk, maybe we'll laugh out of you. So
Now, I do not have the Baby Shark song, although we probably couldn't play it anyway. We'd get flagged for copyright.
yeah, we can't do that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to get flagged for anything, man.
But you know who's working on a baby truck?
Let's see. Who hasn't been working on a baby truck? Well, it's not Ford, because Ford put out the Maverick.
Yeah.
They have a Ranger.
I mean, you got the Ranger, you got the Maverick,
right. Let's see.
You got the
GM
Canyon
has,
and
GM has
the-
a Canyon in the Colorado. Yeah. Let's see. Hyundai has the Santa Cruz.
Yep.
Isn't there one more?
Well, you got Toyota's got the
Toyota's
Taco,
got the
Tacoma.
Taco, the
Right.
Tacoma, which has done very well for them. Nissan with the Frontier. Yep.
I mean,
That's a mid-sizer, right?
you're
Yeah.
missing out on that like truck company.
Truck company. Oh. Could it be Ram?
Yeah.
Ram. Yeah.
So
what I hear.
I mean, they're not even trying to hide this. Like the dude came out, the CEO of Ram came out and did an interview and said He was talking to Road and Track. Yeah.
Bottom line, he's just basically saying, hey, everybody's eating our lunch in that segment of the market, and we
look at mine shut off now.
Yeah, did it really?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll fix it. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, look here.
Don't record in 4K, everybody.
Yeah, we're learning, aren't we? We are learning. 4K is awful nice, though. What is up with that, dude? I don't know. Anyway, so Ram is serious about bringing a midsize pickup back, and could it be the Dakota? We don't know. I mean, Dakota did well for them.
It did. It wasn't a very reliable, like from a quality build perspective. It just didn't. You don't see a whole lot of them still on the road.
Dude, let's just face it. I mean, Dodge. It doesn't even classify in the Ram sector. Those days was just awful.
Yeah. Well, and look, the truck market is extremely profitable for them.
Absolutely. With the full size.
Why wouldn't you try to extend that? I mean, that's where everybody is going now, is keep milking it for, why stop it at an iPhone? Let's do an iPhone Pro. Let's do an iPhone Pro Max. Let's do a Max Lite. Let's do a Mini Max. Let's do a Air.
Well, basically what Ram is doing is they're following what everybody else has done to get into that segment of the market. Now, okay, so you put out a mid-sized truck. Let's just say it might be a Dakota. We don't know, right? We think that that's probably the direction that they will go.
I don't think they'll use that name, though.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. Would you buy, if you were truck shopping and you were looking at a Maverick, a Santa Cruz, and a Dakota? They're going to call it something else.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, hey. Guys, speaking of that,
the penis rocket.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's it. We'll figure. We'll put a little poll up or something, for you guys to. Let's start a poll, Keith. Are you good with that? I think a poll would be great.
Penis rocket goes at the top.
Exactly. We'll put that at the top. But why don't you guys? We'll put a poll or just leave a comment. What do you think if Ram comes out with in the mid-size segment or a compact segment, what should they call it? Right. So, I personally feel that just because of the reputation and the workhorse trucks that they have been putting out, the Rams with the Hemis in them, and of course you've got the Cummins diesels.
Penis rocket Hemi. There you go.
There you go. Penemini. Those things they're workhorses, man, and they're awesome, man. I recently got to ride with a friend of mine who owns the big, huge Laramie super cab, whatever you want to call it, king cab, quad cab, whatever they call them. The amount of room in the back end of that truck with the seats folded down for cargo back there is just freaking unbelievable, man. But the price tag, man, holy cow. I mean, I'll say this. I know for a fact that my parents could have bought 2 homes, possibly 3 homes for the cost of one of these trucks these days. It's just unbelievable. In fact, I was having a conversation with my stepdad just the other day. And we were now keep in mind, he's much older, doesn't keep up with, the modern cost of things these days. And, by the way, guys, don't pay Keith any attention. He's over there just stumbling his way through this thing, but it's working, right? You working? You good?
Yeah. I just kicked the microphone.
Good, buddy? Okay, good.
I got it. Yeah, sort of. I haven't hit record yet, but
so anyway, my stepdad, I was telling him about how much one of these trucks cost, and he was just mind blown. And I mean, to the point to where
it's just stupid.
Even after we conversed about it, like an hour later, I think I got, are you serious, man?
Yeah, like
$100,000 for a pickup truck.
I was looking at a Reddit post the other day,
man.
and But it's the thread started with the guy, the subreddit, sorry, started with the guy going, okay, seriously, what do you guys do for a living that y'all are out buying new trucks every couple of years?
I mean, if you're in the oil business, yes. Which, by the way, have you seen Landman yet?
Nah, should I watch it?
Dude, yes. Billy Bob Thornton is like just the best man in this thing.
Okay.
It's definitely worth a watch. Anybody out there listen to me right now, put this at the top of your list. Watch Landman. It's on Paramount Plus. Good stuff. But those are the people who are buying these trucks. Ranchers, people who, again, Keith and I have talked about this all the time. Vehicles are purpose-built, right? Those are purpose-built vehicles. They're not meant for you to just go buy it, jack it up, and put a pair of testicles on the back end and ride up and down the street with big, huge, like 3-inch freaking exhaust pipes on it, man. That's just stupidity, man. Go do yourself a favor. I mean, now, if you do that, but you're pulling it, you're racing it, you're a weekend racer, I totally get that. But if you're just driving it around town, man, I mean, come on, please, will you?
Yeah,
Compensation package.
Look, and I got nothing against trucks. I own a truck. Like, I just don't.
I got nothing against people who own trucks.
I don't.
I need a truck.
So something that you watched that I turned you on to that we'll get into here in a little bit is it's a documentary on I think it's on Netflix called Buy Now, and it's buy the act of buying something. B-U-Y.
I watched that.
Now.
Mind blown.
And there's executives on there. It was the head of Adidas. There was the lady, she worked for Amazon for, I want to say it was about 15 years. She was responsible for the one-click buy now button, which I think is where the movie or documentary got its title. Several others. And man, what a good, if you're into documentaries, and that seems to be where Netflix has spent a lot of their R&D dollars lately, or their production dollars, I should say. Go check it out. But definitely these CEOs have to keep the shareholders happy, and they're having to find creative ways to sell more product. Hence GM selling driver data. Hence Ram having to do a baby Ram because, Toyota's selling 200,000 Tacomas and Ford's selling a couple 100,000 a year in combined, I think, between the Maverick and the Ranger. The Colorado and the Canyon are selling 160, 150,000 units a year. Yeah. I mean, they want a piece of that, right?
Absolutely. I can't blame them. I mean, and I do think they'll do well with it. I don't see why they wouldn't. Ram is a trusted name in the truck business, that sector.
You think I'm joking? You just put a giant penis on the hood ornament and they'll sell like hotcakes.
They probably will, man. Yeah. Put one of the Toyota silhouettes on there too, on the hood.
Sure.
Put a phoenix on the hood. Put a cobra on the hood or something. This one I won't say just in case we get flagged. But Kill Bill, Uma Thurman's truck. Yeah.
Remember the title of it?
I don't remember the title of it.
So the other word for cat, wagon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I can see how. We got to be careful with that. Get busted, so.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, good luck to you, Ram, on that. You're going to need all you can get with all of the problems that Stellantis is having, but it seems that Ram has been very good to that company and helping them to survive, as we had recently reported in a previous podcast that they were experiencing a lot of trouble and they were going to have to cut some things off. And I think that there was a consideration to cut a lot of the sedans from Dodge, Chrysler, whatever.
Oh, they're
just in bad shape.
And I don't think there's lots of car companies in trouble right now. So it's going to be a little bit of a bloodbath, I think, with
Yeah, in fact, if you keep listening to this, you'll hear us talk about some of the deals that are out there just because of the issues that are going on with the economy and the fact that inventories are bloated, they're overpriced, in my opinion. It's just flat outright gouging.
Now, GM famously came out and said we're going to be all electric by, I don't remember what it was, 2030,
2035, something like that.
And then we said, that it's
Good
not
luck.
going to happen. Yeah. So there was an executive order by the previous presidential administration in the United States to build some target EV vehicle build numbers.
Right.
And we're like little over a month into the new administration, and that we got a new executive order that basically just revoked all the Biden era targets, right? So Trump signed an executive order. Is that gonna? So I guess before we fully get into this, is that gonna help car sales? Like, is that gonna help Ford sell more Mustangs?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't see that. First and foremost, if they're going to sell more Mustangs, they got to come down off the price. I mean, some of these things are ridiculously overpriced. But, from what I'm seeing, though, because they're so bloated with inventories, they are reducing the costs of these vehicles, quite a bit. So you might find a good deal this year. I think that's quite possible. But do I think
if you have a job, this would be a good year to buy a car.
Right. I honestly don't think that was the entire – I don't think that's the reason why he revoked those EV targets. I think that there's other things. And, I mean, let's get into it. So the new executive order revokes unspent government funds for electric vehicle charging stations. It also calls for ending a waiver allowing states to ban internal combustion cars by 2035, specifically targeting the repeal of a waiver granted to California in December. Trump said the EPA should terminate, where appropriate, state emission waivers that function to limit sales of gasoline-powered automobiles.
And that part I agree with, because I think the mandate to do away with any type of engine is dumb. Now, look, you can argue, well, it's environmental, blah, 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 blah. Maybe. But there's still lots of waste created by EVs. It's just not emissions out of the vehicle itself, but emissions to create it, the battery production, what goes in those cells. Those cells don't last forever. How are you going to dispose of them, et cetera? So I think mandating, because it's not like there's a clear choice for clean energy, right? Like you could say maybe hydrogen or whatever, but there's some challenges with that too. So again, I agree with this part of it, because I think just back to what Optima Jim said a couple years ago now on the podcast, you don't want your politicians picking the path forward for the automotive industry.
No. And I am Keith knows this, and I think I've conveyed this to our audience, that I have recently taken on a role of product development in a very large aftermarket valve train component supplier here in the U.S. And so
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books.
I've been telling you, man. I am. So, but the point I'm trying to make here is before I was so just like put on a pedestal right there. Thank you. I appreciate the acknowledgement of how important I am. But we are sitting back and we're taking a look at this with, and I'll tell people even within my organization that I have nothing against electric vehicles. They're not going to take jobs away from those who are working on internal combustion engine. It's just not going to happen, because there's always going to be a need for the internal combustion engine. And I've said that, and it is holding true because of some of the actual, not Biden
for now, for the foreseeable future.
Even before he was out of office, he also, kind of stepped it back quite a bit, because there is no way possible that you can. And again,
we're not there yet.
Optima Jim said that you cannot let your politicians choose for you what you can and cannot drive.
Right.
And Keith and I have pushed this. We are both agnostic when it comes to whatever vehicle you want to drive, you do it. They're purpose built. If you live in LA and you are emission conscious, by all means, drive an electric vehicle. But if you're sitting in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma or Nebraska or somewhere, and you're a farmer, your closest neighbor is probably 30 miles away. I mean, to get to a big store somewhere, you probably got to drive 40, 50, 60, potentially miles, maybe 100 miles.
It'd be nice if you could pull me into town.
Exactly. And so, you having an electric vehicle doesn't make any sense for you. So, I think that this basically solidifies the fact that we need to rethink how we're doing this. But at the same token, you've got the automakers saying, please require us to sell them, and why is that?
I mean, because by now you can sell more units of a product if you're forcing people to get rid of the perfectly working one that they had. And it's ridiculous for me to say this, but it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I got an F-250 Super Duty. It's a V10. It's a truck. It's a purpose-built truck, right?
Right.
And it's got the suicide doors for the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a weird cable system in those doors that it's known to break. It broke on one of the sides. What happens is when you pull the lever to open the door in the back seat, it just doesn't, the lever moves, but the door just won't open.
Right.
And there's a wire it's a cable that's inside the door that breaks off.
Yeah.
Okay. And it happened to me today. I had the one fixed a couple of years ago, and now the other door's broke. And they're kind of a pain to fix because if the door is shut, you got to take the panel off the inside of the door.
Sure.
How are you going to do that if you can't get the door open? Right.
I get you.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
People will just trade that stuff in. Right.
Absolutely.
And that is part of the problem. We've kind of created this situation where it's just everything is commodity based and we just discard everything at a whim.
Pretty much that's the case. And I do believe that
I'll go buy a new $100,000 truck. I don't want to fix the door.
Right. Well, we've been saying this all along, is the movement into technologically driven vehicles. This is where we are. I mean, it's not necessarily a obsolescence kind of a situation with vehicles as it is with computers and stuff, because that happens. They obsolesce quite quickly these days.
But even then,
more, but
I could argue that if they would make the components swappable,
yeah,
you would keep them.
Well, exactly. And the mindset is you got to keep them coming back in for that revenue. Yeah. And that's how it is. And I mean, we can, that's a whole other show where we talk about how the dealership model has had to change in order to make money.
Yeah.
Because, the money is made on accessories and service. And that's where the money's made at that level. And so we're seeing a lot of changes there because of that. We're also seeing that people are just not hanging onto their vehicles as long as they were previously. That's a demographic study. That's a demographic thing. It's, again, we talked about this earlier, about my kids not even caring about going and getting their driver's license at the age of 15. In fact, I think they both got their license when they were 18, when they were going off to college. And they had to drive. So, but you have a generation of people that are used to getting an iPhone every 2 years, having to replace a computer every 3 years. That's nothing to them. That's nothing to society anymore. We're so quick to replace it. So the automotive industry has studied that, and you have to cut corners somewhere. And I think that they do tend to cut some costs at some of the quality, like the propulsion systems and those sorts of things. That they are geared to last as much as our demographic wants to keep the vehicle. And this is going to tie into something that we're going to talk about here in this podcast here momentarily, is about the right to repair. And for my industry in the aftermarket, what I'm doing right now, the right to repair is huge. The ability to be able to restore and repair a vehicle back to decent and good running condition is a viable industry. There's a lot of people who have made a great living over the years restoring vehicles to new-like condition, whether that be the engine or whether that be the body itself and the suspension or whatever. That's restoration. There used to be a segment of our society, and I could go as far, my generation, and I would say Keith's generation. Of course, Keith and I are not that far in age, but still, he's a bit younger than me. There was still that want to go out and find that gem in a junkyard and put it on a rollback and carry it home and dump it in the backyard and just start working on it and restoring it. That was fun. The laws that are out there now, that are basically inhibiting you from repairing your vehicle. There are laws in place that don't allow you to do that. Apple did it with their iPhone.
Well, the right to repair is huge. You haven't heard that term become a popular topic over the past 5 years, I think. And there's thankfully been a push by consumers and government leaders to allow that, right? And so there's some companies that are trying to fight back, but right now the winning side are the people that are trying to repair.
Right.
All right, so let's jump around a little bit here.
Can we do something real quick though?
Yeah.
Trump, when he came into office this year, he signed a lot of executive orders.
Yeah, okay. There went my camera again.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, it's all right.
Can you?
Oh, did I forget to plug it in?
Can you?
Battery exhausted.
Oh, that's why. Did you not plug that in?
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's plugged in.
Okay. Is that what happened?
I don't know. So I actually looked up the executive order history.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And
I mean, he was whipping those suckers out like it was candy, man.
So
like you were at a parade and the Shriners were coming through, man. They were throwing candy out like Shriners.
Yeah, the term executive order really didn't. Executive orders have been around since the first president, since George Washington, but they didn't use the term executive order. So for those of you that think this is kind of a new thing, it's not. I think the difference is how many. Jay just pointed to this, and also what they are being used for. So here is the example. I looked some of this up, right? So I'm looking at a wiki page right now on Wikipedia. It's about the United States executive orders from the office of the president. And it says that the United States Constitution does not have a provision that explicitly permits the use of executive orders. But it does say in the Constitution, the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America, right? So there's a little bit of a kind of leeway there. Probably in most recent years, it goes back to, well, not recent years, but it goes back to Abraham Lincoln.
Right.
And his famous Emancipation Proclamation was the executive order that kind of started it all. And then when our government started tracking those, they went back retroactively and assigned him executive order number 1. That started that. So the numbering scheme was implemented in 1907. So there's a little executive order history for you. And they retroactively went back and gave President Lincoln executive order number 1. But no president until recent years has gone as far as a lot of these guys are going, where they're like renaming bodies of water and just doing some
Gulf
like really, really reaching out with just how much power they have. And look, you guys, whatever side you are on, this is not a political statement. This is a word of warning. Whatever power you give to your guy, the other team can also use that same power against you. So that's why we have a democratic republic in this country. And the more executive power we give to an individual, the less democratic it becomes.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a problem with all sides using the executive order, because that's not what we intended, right? How a bill becomes a law and all that, right? Like, this is kind of stepping around all of that.
Yeah. Well, some of the things that are happening right now, I neither agree or disagree with. I'm kind of on the fence with it, because I'm just kind of unsure of what the intent is, right? Like, for example, tariffs.
Yeah.
The slapping tariffs on China, Canada, Mexico, really, at the end of the day, guys, just let's be realistic here. The consumer will end up paying the bill.
Right. So I think it's American jobs first is the intent there, right? Like, let's
I get it.
Stop sourcing our goods from somewhere that eliminates American jobs. And I get it too. It just feels really short-sighted, because you're going to raise the price of said item to build it here. Otherwise, they would have already been doing that. And in most cases, there are rare exceptions.
Agreed.
And the manufacturing in China is a great example. As you well know, in the automotive industry, they don't have the emissions regulations.
Right.
They're behind us on that. So our factories are not allowed to just dump vomit barf into the environment like some of the manufacturing facilities. And in China, like, they'll change the law just to basically make $1. So there's no, So
I will say this, though. My time's traveling into China.
It's gotten better.
All the cabs in Hong Kong, they're powered by
LPG. But
compressed natural gas or liquid.
They're still behind us from a pollution emissions control.
Yeah.
And it's more expensive for the factories in the United States, because they have to implement those regulations. That equipment is more expensive. When you put, on a car, you put a catalytic converter on that car, it costs more now to make that car, because you can't just dump raw gas or raw exhaust into the, you got to scrub it, right?
Right.
So yeah, the tariff thing just seems like it's the cutting off your nose to spite your face thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, at the end of the day, Keith, we realize that us as consumers are going to have to pay for this, and it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Now, guys, honestly, what's going to happen with this implementation of these tariffs is the cost of goods are going to go up. Bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean, you think eggs cost? Speaking of eggs, man, I was shocked the other day. They were out of eggs, except for they had some other like organic versions of these, that were free range, whatever. It's like $6.80 for a dozen eggs, and I can remember paying 99 cents for them.
Back in my day,
back in my day, right? It just blows my mind at how expensive things have become.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean,
did I do that right?
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
So, okay, back to the executive orders thing.
Yeah.
While I can work on my camera in the other hand, I got some numbers here for those of you that are interested.
Let's have it.
And they all do, all of them, right? Like Democrat, Republican, they do way too many. So I'm going to go back to, let's do the one that just jumps out at me. Franklin Roosevelt,
Right.
FDR.
Yep.
3,721, the most of any president in the past 200 years.
Wow.
Okay. From there, just chronologically, Harry S. Truman had 907, Dwight Eisenhower 484, John F. Kennedy 214, Lyndon Johnson 325, Richard Nixon 346, Gerald Ford 169, Jimmy Carter 320, Ronald Reagan 381, George H.W. Bush 166, Bill Clinton 364, George W. Bush 291, Barack Obama 276, Trump the first time 220, Biden 162, and we are currently at 46 for Trump's second term, which he is only a little over a month in.
He's only
not even a month in.
Not even a month in.
Yeah.
He was officially January 20, right?
Yeah. So yeah, but they all do that at the beginning. They just like sat there and signed tons of them for.
Well, I mean, he when he was on inauguration day, I mean, he was sitting down signing executive orders. So
right,
he means business. You got to respect that. He's trying to get after it, and
I got to go change a battery,
get the job done. So good for him on taking action. Sense of urgency to get it moving. Here's the thing, Trump is in office and he doesn't have to run again. He can't run again unless things change. But yeah. So 4 years that I hope that he puts to good use. I've often said that I think that that's the trouble with our political system, is that we spend way too much time trying to get reelected. And we're not keeping our eye on the problems that are at hand. We are not a political show, and I must say that now, and I will stop talking politics and start talking cars again. But we wanted to bring this up about the executive order because at the end of the day, what's happening to us as a country is because of the tariffs and things that are going into place right now, hold on to your wigs and your keys, because it's going to get bumpy before it will get smoother, I do believe. So it remains to be seen where those things we will benefit from as consumers. And like I said, at the end of the day, typically tariffs only affect the consumers because they have to pass that on to someone. So I don't think they're going to eat them.
Right.
Everybody's in the business to make money. So that's kind of how that works. So while Keith is over there working on...
We got some funerals to get to.
We do have
right?
some funerals to get to. Yeah.
That's not really funeral music. What about this one?
I don't know. Is that...
It's kind of funeral-y. All right. Yeah.
That almost sounded like a coronation of some sort, man.
I got of course, I go grab the battery that's completely dead. Anyway.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
What's next? KTM?
Yeah, KTM.
Funeral number one?
Yeah, funeral number one, KTM. All right, so
bring us in. I'll be back in
all right.
2 and 2.
KTM. It's a motorcycle brand for sure. It's not just a motorcycle brand. They taunt themselves or put it out there that they are a symbol of adventure and speed. And now I will tell you, he's the rider. He's the one getting out there and he's on the trails. Yeah. I'm a street bike guy.
So wildly popular in the off-road arena. They make more than motorcycles. It's an
off-road.
Yeah. They've got the 3-wheeled vehicles. They've got, like you said, it's an adventure vehicle type.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that left Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, etc. for KTM for the brand.
Yeah.
That orange, right? KTM orange, right? And they swear they're noticeably better bikes. They're also more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I've ridden their stuff and I do like it. In the community, KTM we always say stands for keeps taking money.
Right. Well, that's what BMW stands for.
Right.
Bring money with. So
yeah. So
and Harley Davidson, the HD means $100.
Yeah. Right. Every time.
Every time you get on that baby, $100.
But they are, and I've said this many times on this very program. Declaring bankruptcy does not mean you're going out of business, but it means that you are having an issue paying your bills.
Yeah. And you're going to restructure a little bit to get a little relief for that.
So it's a big deal in the sense that that company, as we all know it, KTM, is changing.
Yeah, they are.
And the KTM that many of you know and love may be gone forever. Hence the funeral.
Could be, yeah.
Because they are probably going to get bought by somebody else who's going to come in and change the things. Sorry for kicking the mic around, everybody. Who's going to come in and change some of the things that were causing them to lose money, which also may translate to some of the quality and performance sacrifices.
It always does.
Right?
It always does, because in order for them to survive, to survive the brand, corners will be cut. Simply put, I mean, when that happens, when there's an acquisition like that occurs, certain things will change. It will not be what you're used to seeing,
right?
But they will, the brand brings a lot of value itself.
Yeah. So, here's what I can tell you as of today. How did they get here? Okay. So number one, they made too many bikes.
Yeah.
They have not just bikes. They made too many products.
If you want a smoking deal on a bike today,
go buy a KTM.
Go buy a KTM.
Yep. They have a back stock. They have a surplus of inventory.
Right.
Sorry, I was fishing for the right term there.
Which by the way, banks people, they don't like it when you got bloated inventory.
Right. So overproduction.
Yep.
Big part of the problem. And that's really I mean, did COVID cause that?
Probably.
They had we all had supply chain shortages and then they never dialed it back.
Here's what I can tell you happened is, yes. Because after COVID, companies had really good years. And I say companies, I'm talking about suppliers, because they were catching up and they were getting product back out there, and then all of a sudden things start slowing down again. So if I'm a CFO, somebody watching the numbers, if I'm in procurement or anything like that, gosh, man, you really don't have a clear picture to pick from, because it's really, I would say, from 2021 through 2024, those numbers are not really accurate. So, and by the way, guys, my camera just dropped off as well. So I'd say, we should probably just keep on going with this thing without those two cameras and be done with it. So we'll just go with the wide angle. So we're going to shoot this thing out for the rest of the show, and we'll get this thing fine tuned for the next one. But at least the audio podcast, you don't have to see us, and you'll be okay. What I don't understand is this said that the battery was exhausted as well.
Apparently, even plugged in, they don't keep up with the demand on the battery, I guess. Time to buy some new cameras, Jay.
But it's a battery. If it's plugged in, doesn't it kind of bypass the battery?
Time to buy some new batteries.
I don't know about all that stuff, man. We'll figure it out. So, KTM. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
going down.
yeah, for you outdoor enthusiasts, kind of a big deal. You can run out and get one now. You'd probably be able to get parts for them. I would do it. Because I feel like the build quality is there for the stuff they have on the on the lot today. That build quality is not going to change for a little while,
Right.
Another few months anyhow.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, Austrian company, by the way.
Yeah.
That would also probably change. The two companies that are looking to buy KTM right now, it's a Chinese company called CF Moto, who is also a competitor of KTM's. But that would give CF Moto the presence in Europe that they probably want.
The only reason you're gaining, and the only reason why you're going through an acquisition with a competitor, is to gain that market share.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which we'll get to funeral number 2. But yeah. The other one is Bajaj, which I don't know anything about Bajaj. Bajaj. They are the leading favorite. They produce more than 4 million motorcycles a year, and they were already partners with KTM in the past.
Is that not like Baja Aha?
I mean, Bajaj. I've never heard of these guys.
BAJ.
AJ.
Yeah, Bajaj. Okay, but I mean, if you left off the J, I would say Baja.
Yeah. Their website says not a lot because it just takes a long time to. Yeah, they're a motorcycle manufacturer. 75 years old.
Never heard of them, but I got friends that probably have. I got one in particular that I know for certain probably knows who they are, and I'll pick his brain on that.
They're in India. It's an Indian company.
There you go. Well, which makes sense, and I'm pretty sure that those they are. He's into the old German bikes, like the Zundaps.
Yeah.
Zundaps.
Yeah,
which are pretty crazy. Familiar with those?
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you got nothing better to do with your time, sure.
Yeah. Some people like that's.
I get it.
You like collecting Legos,
Yeah.
He likes making fixing Zundaps.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So now we're on this death on two legs thing. So Toyota and Lexus no longer the most reliable car makers, is what I understand. Did you know that? Is that unbelievable or what? Is it because they're making them in Alabama? Could that have anything to do with it? I'm just saying, man.
That's Hyundai. Montgomery.
Yeah. What can I here?
Oh, is there what plant are you referring to?
I don't know. I'm going to find out here. I was pretty certain that they were.
By the way, you skip to the end here, but
no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, there's some
Charge Point, FTC,
charge point, FTC. Okay, well, we can get that.
All right. Anyway, yeah. So, Consumer Reports.
Yeah.
Toyota's been on that list for a long time at the top. Most reliable car maker, and they lost the number 1 seat, I guess, if you want to say that, recently to, can I tell everybody who? Do we, want to?
Sure. So you can, but I've got my information here.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. What do you got?
Huntsville, Alabama.
What is that? What's made there? What's made in Rocketown? What Toyota?
They produce engines.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. So you've got in the U.S., you've got more, man, even, right? So you got Kentucky, Georgetown, Kentucky, Camry, RAV4, Lexus ES. They produce engines. Troy, Missouri, your old stomping ground, produces aluminum cylinder heads. Princeton, Indiana produces and assembles the Highlander and Sienna. Jackson, Tennessee produces aluminum engine blocks.
Okay.
San Antonio, Texas assembles Sequoia and Tundra. Yeah, so the rest of them, yeah.
All right, so
don't buy your vehicles on Monday. Do not buy a vehicle if it's produced on a Monday or a Friday.
Yeah. Well, number one, taking over the number one spot now.
Yes.
Consumer Reports, customer satisfaction. Subaru.
God, I can't believe it, man.
You refer to them as what? Seattle Axe?
Seattle Axe.
Why can't you believe it?
I think that they're only number one because people pay attention to marketing. I think we're so sheepish these days that you could lie to someone and tell them that it's the best thing on the planet and they would buy it. I'm just not buying it. I don't.
But there's factual data. Like they looked at. So here's how they got to the numbers.
Okay.
This is coming from newatlas.com. A reliability ranking out of 100 points was generated by combining the scores for trouble areas, which were weighted according to the severity of the issues. These statistics, along with the findings of Consumer Reports owner satisfaction survey. So the survey did have a factor, opinion, right? But there were literally weighted numbering in terms of like if it was a repair issue. If there was a repair issue, that got weight in the evaluation. What's interesting is this year's reliability results feature more electric vehicles than ever before. Why is that interesting? There's more of them out there now. I guess that's interesting. It's now a mix.
And I mean, like you could look at the Rivian, being where they're at in that list.
Yeah.
And of course they are, because they're not Tesla. I mean, they haven't been in the market that long, so there's not enough really to go on. I mean, yes, they've had their issues, but
yeah, well,
they're not bankrupt. They're not out of business like some of the other EV companies. Rivian's still making them and they're pumping them out. So
six of the 7 Subaru vehicles that were ranked in the survey received average, above average, or well above average ratings. All 6 of those cars have internal combustion engines.
God, I just got to think people are eating mushrooms, man.
The one Subaru that did not do well was the Solterra EV, which was created with Toyota.
See, man.
Ironically.
Exactly. But I just don't think that why is that, right? Why is it the lowest? I mean, I just think that these are erroneous figures, man. I really do. I'm not buying it.
So they had Subaru scored the number. Here are the numbers. Subaru had the highest score of 68 out of 100 total, 100 points total.
Yeah.
Lexus had 65, so they're in second place. Toyota came in at 62.
Yeah.
And the Toyota Tacoma Tundra and the all-electric Toyota BZ4X all performed below average, which helped pull Toyota down as a whole, which is an important point. The more cars you make, it's like the more times, if I go to bat 3 times and I get 2 hits, I'm batting 666, right?
Right.
But if I have, 4 hits in 100 or 20 at bats, it's going to bring my average down, right?
It's averages, it's numbers. It doesn't. That's why I say I have a hard time buying the whole number one thing, even if it was Toyota. I mean, I
don't know, man. I just think, I don't know. I think the lesbians take better care of their cars.
They may do that. They may do that. I don't know. But hey, it is what it is, man. I don't
That
know
one threw you off.
I don't know that I can follow up
You're
on
not
that
coming
one,
back from that one.
No, I've got a few acronyms for that, but
Yeah.
keep going.
All right. So, okay. Let's just get out of here and move over to EVs.
I'm getting beyond the pronouns. I'm talking acronyms, man.
So we know these guys, ChargePoint, who is an EV third-party charging solution.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked before about one of the issues that you have with owning an EV being you may have a infotainment system in the car that shows you where the closest charging point is, but if it's broken, you're screwed, right?
Pretty much.
So apparently thieves have one of the reasons that these things break is because people steal the cables because there's a lot of copper in them. Because there's metals are valuable, and you need good metals in these cables to be able to push the amount of current that they push through them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ChargePoint is going to implement an anti-vandalization system, which is going to do a couple things. And I'm going to say what it is, but then I have a serious question here. Okay,
I'm with you.
So they're gonna put cut resistant cables in place, meaning that they're just basically like it's got a coating. It's like a master lock, right? It's like a Kevlar coating that you would put on like a master lock bike cable or something, right?
Yeah.
And they're gonna put alarm systems on the chargers themselves, right?
Wow.
I know I'll never win this argument, but if you're trying to steal charging cable and you get electrocuted, why can't you just go into court and go, well, Your Honor, he did it to himself. He was trying to steal our charging cable. I mean, let it have, like, we can have electric fences, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the amount of voltage that would come through would kill him.
Well, if you're that stupid.
Can we not just allow, why do we have, so now we have to cater to the thieves, right? We can't just let them get electrocuted.
Right. No, I agree with that. I completely agree with that. I think that you cannot continue to cater to those who are just not operating on a high level of intelligence.
Yep.
And if you're that damn stupid, then you deserve to be shocked. I'm sorry. Period.
And this is interesting because, it's innovative, right? Like, so ChargePoint's kind of getting there first in terms of the theft deterrent system.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if this gets. First of all, everybody's watching it to see if it's going to be successful, and second of all, will the other charge manufacturing companies adopt something like this?
I'm certain they will. I think they have to.
Yeah.
I think actually, if anything, the feds would probably have to,
Start to regulate
pop
it?
in here and regulate that, because
Maybe.
as with anything, well, they regulate fuel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it could happen.
They regulate how they put that, store it in the ground, and how you can pump it. And
Right.
let's face it. The state of Oregon, maybe that's lapsed by now. I don't know, but I think that you cannot pump your own gasoline in.
Yeah. There's
Oregon.
a state that, I think it is Oregon.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years, but it was still in place the last time we were through there.
Yeah. So the feds, yes, they can definitely get involved and help that situation.
So, okay. So speaking of federal regulations, let's go back to the right to repair for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. John Deere. They make the green tractors.
John Deere Almighty.
Got in trouble because they're being sued by the United States government, by the Federal Trade Commission.
Yep.
Right? Over repairability, because Deere was caught putting limitations in their equipment, in their software, that would block anybody that wasn't a dealer that had that software at their fingertips, because you have to unlock access to certain things, or it would brick them. Right. And so here we go. The FTC, that's the Federal Trade Commission's main complaint here, centers around a software problem. This is from Wired.com. Deere places limitations on its operational software, meaning certain features and calibrations on its tractors can only be unlocked by mechanics who have the right digital key. Deere only licenses those keys to its authorized dealers, meaning farmers often can't take their tractors to more convenient third-party mechanics or just fix a problem themselves, which is where I have an issue because that's the whole point of the right to repair, right? So the suit would require John Deere to stop the practice of limiting what repair features and its customers can use and make them available to those outside the dealership. This is good for everybody, you guys, and here's why. Well, everybody except John Deere.
Right.
You know, Apple started doing this a while back with their laptops and some of their desktops now where they solder certain components to the main board itself and they can't ever be replaced by anyone except Apple.
Right.
Or you void the warranty.
Right.
That has created an unnatural obsolescence cycle in the sense that people now just throw them away and go buy a new one, right? More money for Apple.
Right.
If a third party steps in to repair it, Apple doesn't get that money. Same thing for John Deere, right? Like they're trying to control their cash flow. And I get it, right? Like this is going to hurt their business. But ultimately, it's a win for the consumer because it keeps the repair practices more in favor of the consumer, which is kind of why the Federal Trade Commission is the government agency that got involved, I think.
Right. This is right in line with what SEMA. Well, SEMA's a big advocate for the right to repair, obviously.
And Kyle Wiens, who was in the documentary Buy Now, and also occasionally apparently writes for the Wired publication. First wrote about this issue with Deere in 2015.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. You know, look, a lot of things that have driven some of these lockdowns on how to repair, you know, for outside of the manufacturer to repair things is due to proprietary things that are there and they can't. It's such a competitive world. And when it comes to emission controls specifically, John Deere made tremendous developments far beyond, you know, some of their competitors. And, you know, I've witnessed it being in the aftermarket trying to track down, you know, the components to put in our catalog. And you see these changes and they went through the tiers, you know, stages of change to meet whatever year of emission. Right. And, you know, that was the On-Highway Act and the emissions control federal mandates really drove that, but they gave them grace periods of so many years to get it done. And I think 2017, 2018 is like, okay, you've got to comply. And it got so bad to the point where Caterpillar just kind of threw their hands up and said, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
You know, Navistar, you can have it. You know, they got out of the on highway, you know, long hauler stuff because of that. But this is geared towards that because there's technology involved here. And I think that is what that's geared towards.
And I think what helped loosen the lid on this jar, believe it or not, was ice cream. No joke. Okay. And you guys, you may know this. Did you guys know McDonald's ice cream, there's a right to repair scenario here, which kind of ties into why McDonald's ice cream machines were broken so frequently. The manufacturer that sold McDonald's these machines locked down. Did you know this?
I did not.
Locked down depending on the version of firmware the machine is running, there are error codes that it will present, right? And sometimes updating the firmware on that machine means that you get a different set of error codes because it's, you know, they've changed some things, right?
Yeah.
So they would not allow any third-party access to diagnostics on those machines. And that handcuffed McDonald's into having to basically go back to the manufacturer and pay their price for repair. There was a settlement recently. It was a legal issue, and it actually went in favor of the repair of third-party repair companies, meaning that I'm not naming names of who the company is, but that company that had people locked out of their diagnostics had to give them access and allow repair by more than just them.
Yeah. I think that in fairness to a consumer, you have to allow someone the right to repair.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has the luxury.
I mean,
of
you're
being
getting
able to
scammed if not.
Absolutely. I mean, we can talk about that. I mean,
Right.
That's a whole other episode. Like, hey, BMW, you make up your own labor rates and you make up your own book time. I know this because I checked up on you.
Yeah. Well, it's the German tax, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you could argue, look, you knew what you were getting into when you bought the car. Maybe. I mean, it depends.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know how much research most people do.
Yeah, well, right. But how did we get to a $300 oil change?
Well, that's a whole other, like, don't get me started on that. We have repair shops that have a goal. We got to get, each customer to crank out whatever it is, whatever their goal is, $500 per visit.
It's creative,
right?
It's
creative billing.
Creative billing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going to do what they can to get you to that number.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, when I'm allowed to talk about it, we're going to go down the road of treating customers like ATMs because that is happening more and more. But for now, I have to steer clear of that because
I understand.
Things that I'm not allowed to talk about.
I just know of someone who just recently went in for a repair that was told that they needed some components on the vehicle that I questioned and
I'm not at all surprised.
Recommended that they take this vehicle elsewhere to have a second opinion that was an aftermarket repair center and not a OEM repair center. And way to go, Beamer. And it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and their model, I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but their model is very much just lease one for 3 years and then we'll give you, or 2 years. And
I think that's, honestly, man, I think leasing these days is a more viable option for a lot of people because if the manufacturer is responsible for the maintenance on it, obviously wearables and stuff like that is a different story, but taking care of the vehicle for you, that's part of the deal. It's so worth it.
Yep.
Because it's so costly.
Well, it's just,
overall.
it depends. Like if you have the budget to do that and you're okay with just writing a check every month forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, we got a funeral to get to here.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
The first time I heard that Honda and Nissan were looking to merge, I thought it was sensational. I didn't really think there was validity to it. And then it became a real thing and more people started talking about it and picking up on it. Look, we have said many times on this program over recent years, Nissan's in trouble.
Big time.
And, I joke that, it started with, the guy in the cello case, but really when Carlos Ghosn got into trouble, he was their visionary. He kept them profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And without him, since he's been gone, they have really not been ever where they were under him.
Right.
Financially.
Right.
Successfully. So we're in a situation now where they're desperate. Okay.
They're very desperate. In fact, to the point, and I've seen it in recent days where they've announced buyouts.
Yeah. So the Smyrna plant here in Tennessee, they're offering buyouts to some of that's an assembly plant.
Mm-hmm.
They've offered buyouts to employees to basically just let them go.
Right.
So we think Infinity's probably done. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to explain why. First of all, why would Honda be interested in doing this? If Nissan's in so much trouble, what's in it for Honda?
Technology gains there.
So you have Nissan a little bit more advanced in the EV space.
Correct.
because Honda just didn't spend the R&D to do it.
That's correct.
So they get all those patents. They get all that technology.
Mhm.
They get access to it.
Yep.
Okay. What else?
Engine platforms that have been very durable and reliable for Nissan. So a lot of that intellectual property will become theirs.
So what, like, give me an example of like an engine platform that's used in what?
Well, what does Honda not do? They do not do pickup
Full-size trucks.
Full-size trucks.
So you get the
Correct.
Titan, which I would argue from a quality and reliability standpoint is not that great. Look, you guys, oh boy, like here we go. All you Titan fanboys that are like, "What?" Yeah, it's not
Right,
though.
right.
You go look at the numbers on the repair, on the life longevity of those trucks, compare it to a Ford F-150.
Right.
It's
now, granted, they have
gotten better.
They have. But what I'm saying is Honda has the Ridgeline, but
Yeah,
it is a unibody.
That's not a.
It's a
full-size.
unibody pickup
Yeah.
truck. It's not really. It fits the midsize,
Yeah.
almost subcompact
Right.
or compact type style.
So bigger
it's not really a
engines.
truck, bigger engines. Yes.
Bigger output.
Yep. Yep. Versatility within their market.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? I mean, you've definitely got the van space that Honda doesn't have that they would be getting from Nissan.
Well,
remember, Nissan had some R&D development happening in recent months and years that had them at a very high efficiency, thermally efficient engine.
Yes, I recall that.
So they're going to have access to all that.
But the other thing they'll have access to are, logistically, some of the plants that they have are strategically positioned for Honda.
Right.
And of course, Honda has some U.S. plants as well. I think all of those things, sharing component supply, all of that, anything that can assist Honda in reaching that next goal, which is we got to figure out what that is for them, because they've never really, they haven't dove off the end of the board head first into the electric vehicle market at all.
Okay. Now on the luxury side, I feel like, there was a period probably ended maybe 10 years ago when Acura had risen up and they were a very respectable luxury line.
Yeah.
And they were, the quality was there. I remember my wife had a TSX. It's like, this is the best 4-cylinder vehicle I've ever owned. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Solid as could be. I'm not sure what happened with Acura, Honda along the way there.
Right.
There were some interesting choices they made, but Infiniti, here. So I pulled some numbers.
They're cute.
The big one, everybody loves their Infiniti SUVs, right?
Man, yes.
The QX50.
That's a beautiful ride, man. It's a big deal.
But the other stuff, the other Infiniti models,
right,
are not doing well. So I pulled some sales reports. So most recent report that we've got, Infiniti sales dropped by 13%. That was the last quarter. 42,000 vehicles first 9 months. So they do fiscal years a little bit different. It doesn't end on December 31st. But they are, let's see. So they sold 42,567 vehicles. This is Infiniti during the first 9 months of last year, which is down from 48,000 units sold over this previous year. So year over year, they were down 13%. It's about an 8? Looks like about an 8,000 models less, 8,000 units less. Sales dropped 12.1%. And again, this was at the end of let's see, this was 2023 going into 2024. Yeah, they're not selling as many units. So the Q50, let's start there. You brought that up. third quarter of 2024, that's the most recent quarter that I could find sales data for. They sold 1,299 units, so 1,300 units.
Well, they're going to stop producing it, by the way.
Okay.
They've decided to stop producing that, which, by the way, it's the second best-selling car in 2024.
Right.
But they are going to stop producing it, and the same goes for the QX55, which will also be discontinued, from my understanding. Both models have been fan favorites, from what I understand, but they had their complaints too. You know, there was they had some issues with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not like all across the board, right? Like the Q50, 1,300 units, quarter 3 24, 1,827 units that same time frame in 2023. Q60 is not. There's just like that's a very low. We're not even going to look at that.
Right. But here's what I understand: they're going to be launching the all new QX80.
Well, that's because that was in plans and approved before.
Right.
Before all this went through. I mean, look, and we've seen Nissan kill things on launch day before. I mean, who knows, right? QX50, 2,721 units, 2,721, quarter 3 of 2024. Quarter 3 of 2023, 2,435 units, 2,435. So that's like an 11, almost 12% difference. QX55, actually, about half as good in 24, 882 over 1419 the year before. QX60, 6941 in 24, 7554 in 23. So you guys see the pattern here, right? Like they've dropped significantly.
Right.
Yeah, just not good.
Mm-mm.
Not good.
I am looking at some interesting things. You're talking about the funerals, death of some vehicles, but some vehicles that are on the chopping block to be discontinued, like this year, is the Chevy Camaro, Malibu.
Yeah.
The Ford Edge.
They're just
Nissan Titan.
Yeah, they're not profitable.
Ram 1500 TRX, Toyota Venza, the Volvo S60. This is a lot of this going on. It's becoming more and more common, and I think what you're going to see is fewer models offered.
Right.
You know, they're going to and the models that are offered are going to all share the same platforms.
So,
which totally makes sense.
Speaking of that kind of homogenization, if this merger goes through, is Honda Acura going to just assume, a couple Infiniti models under their flagship? Do they close some of the dealerships? Do they close Infiniti dealers and just sell through Acura? Like, how are they going to play this out? Is it a complete kill off? Will they bring something like their bigger SUVs over to the Acura side? Or will they do kind of what Ford has done in the past, where you have a Mercury brand and a Lincoln brand, but they're sold at the same dealer, right? You could buy a Mercury or a Lincoln,
right? Well, Mercury is no more,
right. But for a while there, right? Like they could do something
Lincoln
like
Mercury,
that.
Yeah, it was always considered Lincoln Mercury dealerships, is what it was.
Right. You could do an Infiniti Acura dealer, right?
You could, but I don't see that happening.
Do you think that they'll just across the board kill off all the Infiniti models?
I think Infiniti goes away.
Okay.
I really do. I think that Nissan will gain some momentum from that, and they'll be putting some more luxury models out. And then of course Honda or Acura will gain some momentum as well.
Yeah, the other problem you have with some of the Infiniti models, people have pointed to this. Toyota has this problem too. They're really not that much more luxurious than just something on the high-end Nissan line.
Right.
Agreed. You can get some really nice Armadas that are going to rival what you can get in an Infiniti. And feature-wise, I'm talking. Right. Like, what are you getting?
Right.
So, yeah.
Valid point.
And when that line is grade, if I could go buy a Ford and it's got 95% of what a Lincoln would have in it, why wouldn't I just buy the Ford? Unless I really want that. Well, whatever it is.
And here's a fine example of that. Cadillac Escalade versus a GMC Yukon Denali.
Right. You're getting close, right?
You're getting damn close. I mean, I've been in those, man, and in my opinion, I think they're as well equipped and as luxurious as a Cadillac Escalade. And the same way with the Chevy Tahoes. Those things have come so far.
The Tahoes.
Tahoes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They've done it to themselves. They have not continued to innovate on the luxury side, and they've catered to sales demands to add more features on the non-luxury side.
Right.
And so once you start putting power windows in your, lower end vehicles, game on, right?
Truth be told. Correcto. So, wow, man, it's too bad. It's ever since I've been alive, of course it wasn't Nissan, it was Datsun.
Yeah.
But still a familiar name. And of course I remember when Infiniti became what they are, or what they were.
Right.
And gosh, man, I remember the whole Honda Acura thing. And, so it's just kind of interesting to see the landscape change a little bit. We've seen it happen over the years with GM, letting Pontiac go, and Oldsmobile and those names that we're all familiar with. It's a part of the life cycle of the industry, and they're having to come up with new ways to survive, and that's exactly what this is survival, period.
Yep.
And so with that, in order to be able to continue to produce vehicles, this is what happens. And so see you later, Xfinity. And good luck to Nissan and Honda it'll be interesting. We'll follow this story and see where it takes us, and see what new things that Honda will gain from this, and see if Nissan continues to produce vehicles. We'll see what happens.
Your history.
When I'm on my break.
Stay on it.
All right.
All right. You got anything wise to
crack out of here with?
Crack out of here with?
I got So in closing, good to be back.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
And we'll get all that worked out.
Yeah.
There's some cool new things happening. We just gotta, fine tune some things.
Got to capture that.
We can't. 3 angles. It's an upgrade, right?
Yeah, it is.
Instead of the 1.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you guys for supporting us. If you want to continue to do that, a couple of easy ways. Go to the website, PartsCounterGuru.com. Click on the show specials tab, and there's a whole list of our brand partners on there. If you're looking to buy stuff, do it through there. There's also an Amazon link. So if you're going to buy stuff from Amazon and you click through our banner, that will give us a commission without changing the price on anything that you buy. It's also anonymous. We don't know what you bought. We have no way to link that back to you. So just know that, some of these weird ones that you guys buy, like, we don't know. We won't ever find out. Unlike GM customers' driving habits, we actually won't find out. So that's that. And then just make sure stay tuned to the channel. For those of you that didn't know, there's a video version of this podcast over on YouTube. You can watch that. You can also find all our socials on our website. And if you want to watch the shorts, we'll be cranking some of those out as we go. What else, Jay? Did I forget anything?
No, not really. Just subscribe, people. We love you. And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening and putting up with us for this particular show. And we'll bring you a better one the next time, guaranteed. Outside of that, no.
Yeah, but that True Coat though.
True Coat.
All right. So in the words of Satchel Paige, you know who he was, right?
Yeah.
Famous baseball player,
yeah.
right? Ain't no man can avoid being born average, but there ain't no man got to be common. For my pal Jay over there, I'm Keith. Thank you guys for making us a part of your lives. We will see you on the next one. Bye.